In the bustling streets of New York City and the alleys of London, there's a common piece of wisdom. Don't mess with the Albanians. You've seen them depicted in various forms of media, from Gangs of London to Taken and even Grand Theft Auto 4, but what truly defines the Albanian Mafia? And what's it like to be a part of it? Join us as we delve into the secretive world of the Albanian Mafia. Contrary to popular belief, the Albanian Mafia doesn't operate in isolation from other organized crime groups like the Cosa Nostra or the Sicilian Mafia. Over the past 8 decades, it has evolved into a network that extends beyond ethnic boundaries. The Albanian Mafia comprises a network of families that include Albanians, Serbians, Macedonians, and even Greeks. These clans have established themselves across the globe, with a significant presence in Australia, Europe, the United Kingdom, and notably, the United States. Attempting to infiltrate these organizations is a daunting task, even in cities like New York, where law enforcement is robust. According to the FBI, their operations are shrouded in secrecy. Much like their Sicilian counterparts, Albanian crime families place immense value on concepts of honor, trust, and loyalty. They operate under their own set of internal codes, rendering official laws secondary or even irrelevant. Their guiding principle is encapsulated in the term basic, which translates to faith or oath in their culture. In Albanian culture, the act of giving someone your basis signifies a verbal bond of trust. As previously mentioned, the Albanian Mafia is not exclusively comprised of ethnic Albanians. There isn't a singular governing body dictating the operations of each family or directing their business ventures. The Rudai organization primarily consists of Albanian Americans, with some Italian Americans also involved. Albanian crime families in Germany may include immigrants from Albania, North Macedonia, and Kosovo. It's important to note that there isn't a single unified Albanian Mafia. Rather, it's a network of families with ties to Albania and the Balkans. Various Albanian crime organizations have been implicated in a range of illicit activities, including human trafficking, drug trafficking, prostitution, and more. So, what does life in the Albanian crime world entail? Let's consider the case of Jed Lika, better known as Joey Lika, who was regarded as a prominent figure in the New York drug trade. Lika was known for orchestrating the movement of an estimated $100 million worth of Turkish drugs at one time. Described as a formidable presence in international crime circles by Hoffman and Headley in Contract Killer, Lika's associates were reportedly trained and prepared to carry out assassinations against high-profile figures such as John Gotti, Paul Castellano, or even President Reagan at his behest. Notorious for his disdain towards Italians, Lika was feared for his violent tendencies. He later aligned himself with Jevdet Mustafa, one of 4 Albanian exiles who aimed to assassinate Enver Hoxha, an Albanian communist politician. Mustafa's mission ultimately ended in failure when he fatally shot himself in 1982. He continued his criminal activities, particularly heroin trafficking, into the United States. In 1985, Lika's criminal career came to a halt when he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. By this time, he had facilitated the transportation of over $125 million worth of drugs from various sources, including Yugoslavia and Turkey, into major U.S. cities such as New York, California, Texas, and Illinois. Lika was supported by his Albanian relatives, and there are reports that Rudy Giuliani, who was overseeing the case, received death threats from Lika's father in an attempt to influence the outcome. Lika even issued a $400,000 contract to prosecutors to try to sway the charges in his favor. Giuliani later remarked that it was the first time in his career that his life had been threatened by a defendant. Being considered a rival of the Lucchese and Gambino crime families underscores the formidable reputation of Lika. Alex Rudai began his criminal career as an associate of the Gambino family. He's not the only Albanian to align with established crime families, as many have integrated into other criminal organizations over the years. By the 1990s, Rudai had formed a collaboration with other Albanians and members of the Cosa Nostra to establish an illicit gambling operation in Morris Park, Westchester County. Rudai's endeavors proved successful, further cementing his position in the criminal underworld. In June 2001, Rudai and 6 of his associates targeted Soccer Fever, a Greek social club serving as a gambling racket controlled by 2 Greek associates of the Lucchese family. Armed and aggressive, Rudai's men assaulted one of the Greeks, wielding pistols and instilling fear in the others present. By 2005, Squitieri had reached his breaking point. He arranged a meeting with the Rudai Corporation at a gas station in New Jersey, arriving with a formidable entourage of 20 armed Gambino men, dwarfing Rudai's contingent of 6. According to the accounts of undercover FBI agent Joaquin Garcia, Squitieri issued a stern warning to Rudai, emphasizing that he had taken what he had taken, and any further encroachment would result in dire consequences. Rudai and his associates faced a potentially deadly confrontation. Rudai proposed a drastic solution: to blow up a gas tank if violence erupted. Fortunately, bloodshed was averted that day, and a year later, all the key players from the sit-down found themselves behind bars. Dobroshi, a Kosovo-Albanian crime boss, once held considerable power as a heroin and arms smuggler in Europe during the 1990s. However, his criminal empire came crashing down when he was apprehended in Norway in 1993 and subsequently sentenced to 14 years in Ullersmo prison for drug trafficking across Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. Despite his incarceration, Dobroshi's influence persisted, culminating in a daring escape orchestrated by his associates in 1997. After escaping from Ullersmo prison, Dobroshi relocated to the Czech Republic, where he wasted no time asserting his dominance over the Albanian drug mafia in the region. However, his reign was short-lived, as he was arrested again on February 23, 1999. In Prague and subsequently imprisoned in the Czech Republic, amidst rumors of an assassination plot against him in prison. Dobroshi took matters into his own hands and successfully orchestrated his extradition to Norway to complete the remainder of his sentence. Meanwhile, Nazar Kamendi emerged as a formidable figure in the criminal underworld. Known as possibly the biggest drug lord in the Balkans, Kamendi's violent tendencies were evident from a young age. In 1976, at just 19 years old, he was convicted of attempted murder in his hometown of Peć, Serbia. By the 1980s, Kamendi was involved in smuggling gold and textiles into Kosovo from Turkey. As the former Yugoslavia faced international sanctions in the 1990s, Kamendi expanded his operations, trafficking oil, tobacco, and drugs across the region, steadily building his criminal empire. Kamendi's influence extended across multiple countries, including Montenegro, Kosovo, Macedonia, Croatia, Serbia, Germany, and the United States. Interpol acknowledged the breadth of his organization's reach, highlighting its significant influence in various regions.